We are rolling. Welcome to SoulKast with Cash and Calliope.
Oh man, we are back. We are back. Oh man.
I kind of want to tell them about the tea we're drinking because it's been tradition. However, we just had some like dope ass ramen, and so
Yeah. Well, I feel like at this point it's somewhat of a tradition for me to talk about the tea, but I didn't even bring it down here with me. It's that Ahmad brand. I think I'm saying it right. It's like AMH something. You know what I'm talking about.
Ahmad.
Yeah, I think that's how you say it. But it's the energy blend. Grapefruit, something else was in it. Don't get me wrong, it ain't like Waffle House coffee, but it'll get you going. You know, it'll get you feeling pretty good. Don't expect to like go work no 12-hour shift or nothing on like one little sip of it, but yeah, you know, get you feeling pretty good. Now that ramen, Go support your local international markets, man. That's where all the good ramen is. Don't nothing just disgust me more than what is it? Is it Top Ramen? What is the brand I'm thinking about? The
Munchkin.
That's not what it looks like Munchkin because you're dyslexic, but I actually think it's like Maruchan or something. There's an R in there. But yes, that makes my skin like. Don't get me wrong. I am poor, but I am like snobbishly poor to the point where I'll turn my nose up at Walmart ramen. Like, how dare you give me the 47-cent ramen when there's $1.29 ramen over here?
Thoroughly impressed, even though I didn't show it on my face in the kitchen, when you pulled out 4 flavor packets from the ramen thing. That was insane. There was fish sauce?
Yeah.
Soy sauce? What else?
The fish sauce, soy sauce, the actual flavoring, and then they hit you with like some seasoned MSG, which was delicious. That's what set it off. It's that MSG that sets it off for real.
Man, I don't know about that MSG. My mama raised me to be skeptical of that stuff.
Are we doing this? Are we doing this? We gotta get this out the way. Like, MSG is something that occurs naturally in nature. Like it's something that has existed for a long time, right? So, Chinese food is so good that they ain't never made a commercial for it. You ever seen a commercial for Chinese food?
No.
No, because crack sells itself. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the Chinese restaurants, mind you, they started getting these business loans to open up. They would only grant the Chinese people, business loans to open in certain areas, certain districts or whatever. And then they started hating because they started making so much money. And so I guess they were like, they eat dogs and cats. And then nobody cared. They still kept eating Chinese food. And they were like, the MSG is poison. It's like nobody cared. Everybody still kept eating Chinese food. Like no matter what they said to try to stop Chinese restaurants from making money, it did not stop because crack sells itself. It don't matter what them people say about Chinese people putting in their food. People are still going to flock to Chinese food restaurants every time.
So MSG is like crack.
No, that's not what you're supposed to conclude. I got off on a tangent. I didn't even get to it. So I actually think it's called monosodium glutamate. And you can be my witness. I ain't Googled that. So if I'm wrong, that's just off top of my dome. But bear with me. Have a little grace. But like, essentially, they use it like a secondary salt and like traditional. I ain't gonna say traditional.
I know we got some food up in the cabinet when we made that. When Eric made that Chinese food the other night.
Oh
and
yeah.
Snapchat.
Like it's damn near a requirement for a lot of dishes. Like you gotta have. Is it like
a thickener almost?
I can't really tell a whole lot of a difference.
Was it in a liquid pack in the ramen thing, or it was powder?
I've only ever seen it powder, but like the actual taste of MSG. Oh my God! Like it's something about it that makes the food a little bit more cohesive. It's not like salt where it's like a very distinct taste. It's more like a umami kind of like subtle
umami.
flavor.
I just love saying that.
Yeah, you're a whole problem. But yeah, no, listen, there's nothing wrong with MSG. Them folks was lying on them Chinese folk. Shout out to all the Chinese restaurants in Tennessee. Man, shout out to Kim San in Scottsboro, Alabama, man. You want some lore? Do you know about Kim San in Scottsboro?
No, give it to me.
Man, listen. So Kim San has a hot sour soup that is so good, bro. It is like, my brother told me when I was a youngin', he's like, I've been to New York's Chinatown, I've been to San Francisco's Chinatown, I've been to all these different places and bougie Chinese restaurants. Nobody has hot sour soup anything like Kim San. And you know, me hearing this as a child, like, I'm like, this man's out his mind. Yo, that was 100% accuracy, because I went to San Francisco and tried hot sour soup. I went to New York and tried hot sour soup. I've tried I've paid $15-$20 for hot sour soup, just the soup before, and it's not even close to Kim San. And Dobby's loyalty is to, I want to shout them out, but I'm afraid I'm gonna get their name right. Is it China King? King China? The place over there in Fort Payne, across the street from the McDonald's, whatever that Chinese restaurant over there is. And me and Dobby always get into these epic battles about who has the best Chinese food.
I feel like what needs to happen is Calliope goes to a remote location, Rainsville, something like that, something right in the middle of Scottsboro and Fort Payne.
Yeah. Oh,
and then you both bring the Chinese food, and I do a blindfolded test.
Hey, I'm with that. The only problem is, like, not a big fan of Rainsville, Alabama. Do you know it? Like, you know, ain't nothing wrong with Rainsville, Alabama, but like, there's just not like a.
We just gotta find an exact middle spot.
There's just not a cool place to post up in Rainsville. That's
well,
not.
We're
like,
doing cool things. Anywhere we go can be a cool place if we're cool people.
No, you don't. You've obviously, you don't know about Rainsville. Like, there's literally, I don't even think Rainsville has a park. Do they have a park? Clearly, they got a park. They gotta have something.
They got a Dollar General.
Yeah. Well, see, man, we could get into the dichotomy and the relationships in between Sand Mountain towns and how they all hate each other, but that's a different thing. You'd actually really appreciate that conversation, because when I went to Northeast, we would equate the way that these little mountain towns interacted with each other to the same way the Greek city-states would interact with each other. Shout out to Mr. Day. He was a cool teacher. Dr. Day? No, I don't think he got his daughter. I don't know. I'm not in that man's business. I don't know what he got.
Wait. You're talking about a different Day than I know.
I'm 99.9% positive. I don't see how you could possibly know Mr. Day from Northeast. That was a little hole-in-the-wall college I went to before I transferred to Montevallo.
Which is where we met.
Ha! I was hoping you were going to dunk the oop.
Hey.
You know what that means?
You ollied it to me, so I ooped it.
Oh, man, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, well, you got me educated, so.
I don't want to say educated.
You made me hip to the ways of.
See, I'm looking for something in between hip and cultured, nuanced maybe. You know, I don't know.
I used to have a little bit when I was doing the stand-up comedy thing, introducing my name, Calliope. And at some point I was like, you can even call me Calliope, because if you ollie it to me, you best believe I go oop.
Yeah, see, you've
So
always been a little ratchet.
What's the difference between Ratchet and Cringe as far as the context
Oh my
of
God.
me
Oh wow.
being concerned?
So different. So
see, I feel like, okay, explain it to me in the analogy of twerking. What's the difference between Ratchet twerking and Cringe twerking?
Okay. So cringe twerking would be like you're just, you know, nice suburban family, you know, white picket fence, dog name like Eugene or something, like credit store crazy. They yield a daughter. She goes to a college party and she gets easily influenced by, you know, let's say Miley Cyrus in her hot girl wrecking ball era, and she thinks because everybody around her makes it look so easy, she thinks that she can just do what these young ladies have put, you know, hours and hours and hours into, right? She thinks she can just do it, and she starts and she looks like she's having a seizure.
So that's cringe.
That's cringe. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Okay, yeah.
Have you seen those situations?
I love and appreciated the backstory there.
Yeah, right.
That's like me when I try to twerk. It's very cringe.
You got me. No, I'm not. I'm not talking about nobody in particular twerking. You crazy if you think I'm about to sit over here and speak on behalf of anybody twerking. Hell no. You trying to get me canceled.
I'm just remembering, doing my little neurodivergent body shakes or whatever, and Tiara's like, "Girl, you can twerk," and I was like, "Really?" And she had me twerking in Braxton's front yard.
Let me warn you. This is why I love my people, but I also can't stand my people. Black people love instigating, and I think like an
so
equivalent.
She was laughing at me and not with me.
Wait a minute. An equivalent of instigating is black people do this thing where they hype up people they ain't got no damn business hyping up. They do that. Like black people do that. Like I'll never forget this one time.
For their own amusement?
Oh my God, absolutely, 100%.
Only for their own amusement.
Only specifically like there's.
So is that behavior ratchet?
No, this is everything so far up until this point has been cringe. Like for example,
heard.
There's this one kid we grew up with. I ain't gonna say his name, but like bro could not rap to save his life. But I'd be damned if everybody wasn't just hyping him up just because they thought it was hilarious. They know damn better, and so a lot of times there's these cringe settings where you got the suburban 8,000 credit score, and they're trying to have a little seizure, and sometimes it'll be like a pity hype up, like A for effort. Black people like participation trophies too. Don't let them fool you. But sometimes it's that, but a lot of times it's just like this is low key hilarious and it's an inside joke and only we get it, and so it's like they will. Now, I can't speak on what Tiara had going on with you in Braxton's front yard. I don't know. I wasn't paying no attention.
She said I was really good at it and I just needed to work on my face.
Your face? Okay, now it sounds like she's trolling you. Because
I get a really serious look in my face when I'm trying to isolate the the movement of my buttocks.
Yeah, I don't know. That could be Tiara. We need to get Tiara back up here for the episode. She might need to answer for herself. We need to put her on the spot. But no, so
it helps when I wear sunglasses, according to Tiara.
See, yeah, she ought to be ashamed. I don't know what she had going on, but everything up until this point, cringe, right? Mm-hmm. And then you got Ratchet. Ratchet is that whatever specimen hops out of the back seat of that 1984 Chevy Brougham that's like a disgusting color, like a dark brown or like a faded purple or like a maroon. Like whoever hops out of that back seat with like a old 2000s era like Lil Wayne mixtape playing and they're on their way to work their shift at Walmart. Depending on how they interact with their coworkers, of course. But that's what I think when I think Ratchet, right? I think like, we're obviously dealing polar opposite of, the 1,000 credit score, white picket fence.
I love how it went from 8,000 to 1,000.
Yeah, I'm wowing with the credit scores. That's how you know I
to 800.
But yeah, Ratchet is just like, it's like we ash on the floor when we smoke in the house. Ratchet is like,
to me, you're describing like the difference between rich and poor.
Yeah, that's part of it. But like, you can be poor and be cringe and be rich and be Ratchet though. That's where it gets confusing. Like, you can be the rich Ratchets are actually the worst, yo. Ain't nothing worse than the rich Ratchets. Oh my God. Those rich entitled Ratchets that are just like, oh my God, we're so poor. Oh my God.
Do they drive Chevys also?
Yeah, but like it's like they drive the crappy vehicles by choice. It's like they go and they get the, the shit boxes and they fix them up, by choice, because they like, you got to think there's people that are buying these, low cost cars because they don't have any other choice, and they're trying to turn them into daily drivers. Your rich Ratchets want the fucking 99 Civic hatchbacks. Like they're seeking that out because they low key, I feel like your rich Ratchets are the people that glorify being poor in this really weird way. They gravitate towards it. These are usually like also your biggest culture vultures. This is the whole cringe versus Ratchet. Like that's a rabbit hole that could actually keep going. I could rant about that forever.
I feel like there's some bars within
Yeah.
the conversation
but here's the thing. Your ratchet twerking is always going to be on point. Because, that's kind of that energy, like the pulling out of a Chevron, somebody daughter up on top of that Cadillac CTS and they're throwing it back.
Well, I'm just glad they're pulling out because we don't want to breed more of them.
No comment.
Am I gonna get us canceled?
You just murdered my momentum, dog. Like completely. Like I was here, then you went skirt, completely went left field. Drove off the cliff and hopped off before it hit the bottom of the mountain. Did I paint a picture there? Like you driving, you jump out of the car, you roll,
Yeah, and
the car goes off the cliff. That's the picture I'm trying to paint. That's what happened. I told you this was gonna be a good episode. I feel like talking crazy.
I also feel like I'd like to say something to redeem that poor comment that I made.
Oh, let it die. Let it die.
We'll just let it die. Let it die.
It will be reborn again at some point. So everything that was just said wasn't even what we was trying to talk about at all, which is good. What are we trying to talk about? We had a segue at one point and we just threw it away.
I feel like I want us to segue back to it. Speaking of segways, remember that guy in Montevallo who used to ride around on his Segway everywhere and wear the obnoxiously colored suits?
Yes. What didn't he teach?
No, he was an accountant.
He wasn't even a professor?
Mm-mm.
What?
No, he just hung out with the professors.
Oh man, I was always trying to take that dude's class just because I thought he was cool.
He was in the Rotary Club. He travels a lot. So he's friends with a lot of the professors.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, real interesting individual. Someone who unironically still uses a handkerchief, which I really appreciate.
Real old soul right there.
Mm-hmm.
Bandanas and handkerchiefs have a little bit of common ground, I feel like. I feel like I'm a little bit of an old soul, but I'm not handkerchief old soul. I ain't there yet.
I have a handkerchief in my purse right now, actually.
Was it given to you by somebody who's no longer with us?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's bona fide.
Mm-hmm.
That is, yep.
Way better than tissue.
Absolutely. But I've always felt like the concept of handkerchiefs is kind of weird. It's like,
unfortunately, there's no embroidery on it, so it's not personalized or anything like that. But now that I'm thinking about it, all that monogram stuff that people like to put on their cars, the modern monograms are so annoying.
Yeah, they get bad. They get real bad real fast.
I feel like it went from hand embroidery to stamps to airbrush to poorly printed vinyl initials.
The initials is what gets me. Whenever you see the initials on on a vehicle, especially, that's so crazy to me because it's like, why would you do that? Why would you put your initials on your vehicle? Like a big old vinyl sticker. But anyways, hold on. You just threw the segue away again. We have to salvage it. Where were we going?
Well, we can segue back in by talking about all of the sorority girls at Montevallo who had all their monograms, towels, and cars.
So hold on. I'm talking too much. Let me ask you: did you ever join a sorority?
No, I am ethnically Greek, so I didn't need to be socially Greek.
Oh, wow.
Everyone wanted to be Greek. I was fortunate enough to be born Greek.
I was about to give you hell too, but as soon as I realized what you're talking about, I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave you alone.
Did you join?
No, man.
A fraternity?
No, man. Hell no. I wasn't finna join no fraternity, bro.
One of the professors tried to bully me into joining the music sorority, actually.
Nah, man. All them folks, they low-key got on my nerves. The Fugees or whatever was getting on my nerves.
Yeah, those are the worst kind of apples anyways.
Oh, I meant
I knew
Fiji.
what you meant.
Fiji.
Fiji.
Lay down, Fuji. That's
Tomato,
a very
potato.
obscure reference. I don't think if you get the reference, lay down, Fuji, then we are bestest of friends.
I don't even get it, but
Yeah,
as
that's
you
okay.
stated in our sound check, we aren't friends, so it's fine.
Yeah, did you get that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fire. That's what's up. So hold on, rewind.
Skirt.
Yeah, so I've never joined a fraternity just because, like, as a transfer student, I mean, I always felt so like I was already a person by the time I got to Montevallo. Most people don't really become people in college until like their sophomore or junior year. That's when you figure out like, who you are. Like point blank period. Like not even college aside, like when you're about 19, 20, 21, that's when you figure out like, oh, okay.
Well, you start figuring it out.
Well, I'm speaking on behalf of me. I reckon I probably grew up just a little bit faster than some, but
We also have parents that are much older than a lot of people in our generation. So.
yeah, and so by the time I got to Montevallo, like I was already a person, and I didn't really care nothing about having friends. Hell, I was trying to get folks to leave me alone, and so just the concept. At first, I was with it. It's like, okay, what do y'all do? Y'all just hang out. Y'all go to parties. It was like, cool. And then they're like, oh yeah, then you got to pay all these fees, and we finna haze you. And I was like, yo, I ain't finna do a damn thing until my youngest son, and y'all damn sure ain't finna run my pockets. So yeah, fraternities was already, and it's like plus like, I don't know, man. I just feel like fraternities is just gangs for college kids. That's just what it looks like. That's what it appears to be. It just looks like, bro, y'all
Gangs for kids who shop at outlet malls.
Yeah. It's like gangs for people who are trying to be veterinarians someday.
I remember I had a roommate. It was one of those random pairings my freshman year.
And see, that's another thing.
Good Lord.
Yeah, bless your heart.
She was so devastated with like the whole rushing process of sorority, girls club type stuff. I never understood, like, I mean, I guess on some level, if I rewind a little bit, the desire to feel included and not rejected is something that has definitely been present in my life. But then, like when I went to a 10-day silent retreat about halfway through college. And
okay, just continue, but I don't know what that is, but by all means continue.
It's called a Vipassana. It's like a style of meditation.
Say it again?
Vipassana.
Okay, you're saying you're speaking yoga, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Essentially. Yeah, it's one of those Eastern philosophies, Eastern practices. But we meditate in silence. The whole thing is silent. You don't talk to anybody, you don't look anybody in the eyes. Like you are very silent. There's like a teacher that there's a segment in the middle of the day where you can ask them questions if you feel that you need to, but there's no idle chatter, none of that. There's 10 hours of meditation in the schedule every single day, like, 2 meals, nap time, whatever. But what I realized in those 10 days of meditation, I think by day like 6 or 7, it's like a psychedelic trip. Like I had a flashback. I got this physical sensation first and foremost.
Just from silence.
Just from silence. Where when your like heart drops into your stomach, you get that. Have you got that feeling before?
Be just a little bit more descriptive. Do you mean like
Have you ever had
really
like
disappointed, like heartbreak kind of feeling? Is that what you mean?
Kind of, sorta, yeah.
Like shock.
It's like thing? It's heavy. It's heavy. It's like your whole abdomen collapses.
Yeah.
So instead of my heart dropping into my stomach, it like dropped out of my ass. Like it was intense, and I had flashbacks to every single time I'd ever felt rejected. Anytime my dad made a face at me or didn't like react the way I wanted him to. Anytime I didn't get like the solo in choir. And it made it apparent to me how my need to be accepted by everybody else was dictating how I acted and interacted in the world. And that, I feel, was the beginning of my journey of like, I actually just need to work on accepting myself.
That's beautiful.
And when I do that, then the right people who are on my vibration are going to come into my life, and all that extra noise and all of that stuff I don't need is just going to fall away. And I still struggle with, feeling rejected or not included.
Yeah, well, that's a very human thing,
Well, yeah, and if you take it back to our primal level, like if you're not accepted by the people around you, you don't have food, you don't have shelter. It's like very much related to our survival.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. I never thought about it like that. Yeah, I'm getting better at looking at things through like this very primal, animalistic, like scientific lens. And you make a lot more sense of the world around you when you do that. But hold on, I want to go back to the whole silent thing. Somebody told me that like they created this room that was just so dead and so quiet that like you go in there.
Deprivation chamber.
Yes, deprivation chamber. Yeah, somehow the lack of sound waves forces your mind to hallucinate because we, once again, because at the end of the day, we ain't nothing but animals. It's like we've never really seen, or I guess here is the right sense. It's like we don't really ever hear just like true silence for long periods of time. That's not a natural thing in the world. In like this world around us, pure just silence doesn't happen naturally. And so essentially like your cerebellum, I guess, I'm pretty sure it's your cerebellum, starts to kind of freak out and basically send up like these error 404 codes all everywhere to all these different parts of your body. It's like, hey, what's going on? Do you hear anything? Do you hear anything? Do you see anything? And it forces you to hallucinate. Yeah, don't quote me exactly on which part of the brain it is. I'm pretty sure it's the cerebellum. It's been a while since I've taken psychology. I'm a little rusty. I need to brush up. But yeah. I always found that interesting. But anyways, so back to the whole
needing to feel included.
Well, yeah, but more so like
being
looking at
someone in the context of a group.
Yeah, look like that whole looking at things through the lens of we as a people, but also we as just another species of animal. Did we have the laughter conversation? We didn't have the laughter conversation. So, no. Okay, I was purposely trying to save this for this podcast.
Well, here we go. You heard it here, folks. First.
Oh, don't quote me, boy, because I ain't
You heard it here first, folks, on the SoulKast podcast.
So look, basically, no, of course, you could really be a stickler and you could really come at me about the little intricacies and the nuances and the semantics of science. And if you do that, congratulations, you get a gold star. That's not what I am. So laughter doesn't just happen for no reason. There's a functionality behind everything we do. And so when you look at primates and you look at what they're saying, what they're trying to signal with laughter, what it means is, hey, there is no danger here. Okay? So one of the most primal forms of comedy is, oh, here comes Calliope, she's walking along, I'm hiding behind a tree with the mask of a saber-toothed tiger, and I jump out, and then you jump and you scream, and then you realize, oh, it's not a saber-toothed tiger, that's just my friend trying to scare me, oh, ha, 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 ha. You're laughing because your body is having a physiological response like, oh, we thought we was about to die, but this ain't nothing. So essentially, the feeling and the sound of laughter is synonymous with comfort. Okay? That's big because, and this is where, if this might make some folks mad because I'm about to let out a big secret. If you can make people comfortable, man, making somebody laugh is the cheat code to making them comfortable. Straight up, every time.
What about uncomfortable laughter?
You can always, it don't feel the same. It don't sound the same. It's not the same. That type of laughter is a learned behavior. It's not a natural, and you can tell it's not natural because when you laugh, and you can't control like what comes out. Like but like a forced laugh, you're manipulating that yourself. And so. Back to the whole comfort thing, um, a lot of times your big tough dudes, the dudes with money, the guys that just whatever the case may be, they do all these things to try to make women comfortable, and a lot of times they don't understand why the dude who's like 90 pounds soaking wet is just got their crush all, googly eyed and swooning. It's because he knows how to make her laugh, bro. Mm-hmm. You don't know how to make her laugh. It's like you got all these guns and this big truck and all this stuff to make women comfortable, but it's like you can't make her laugh. Therefore, and it goes both ways. It's like the people that you laugh with the most, there's a very specific type of bond. And that bond comes from comfort. And that's a very luxurious feeling to have as an animal, because you got to think, we as animals, we running around chasing woolly mammoths, running from saber-toothed tigers or whatnot. It's not very often you get to make a sound that signals, hey, we're comfortable right now. So laughter is a very primal gift that has manifested itself into what we think of comedy, but that's just because we got big brains now and we're developed or whatnot. But at the end of the day, we ain't nothing but some animals. We just bougie orangutans, bougie gorillas. I'm trolling for all you like, oh, he said we descended from monkeys. Yeah, no, I'm trying to trigger y'all. But yeah, that's my comfort spiel. That's my laughter spiel. Questions, comments, concerns, confessions. You quiet. I expected you to be interjecting a lot.
I'm thinking. I'm really taking it all in. It's gonna take me a second, because I really want to respond. You're sharing some golden information here.
No, I wouldn't call it gold. Maybe just like a really polished copper or bronze or something like that. It ain't gold.
I was just reflecting on how deep I was getting into the comedy scene, and then I moved houses, and now I live in an environment where I laugh all the time, and I have a really good time with the people I'm living with, and so it's like I don't necessarily need to be engaging in the comedy scene like I was. Not that I would enjoy getting back to it, but when there's joy in your life, you don't have to go out of your way to find it anymore.
Very solid flex. But yeah, you're absolutely right. A lot of times, and I apologize if this gets, semi-dark, but like a lot of times, like your funniest people, a lot of times are so infatuated with trying to make everybody else laugh that sometimes they don't ever really even get that comfort that they're trying to make everybody else feel. And that, my friend, is heartbreaking. That's why I feel like one of the most hostile environments, like think of a job you hated, think of a class you hated, think about anything you just detested, and think about how much did you laugh in those situations. I guarantee you it wasn't a lot. Because, man, if you can use that cheat code to comfort, I don't care what setting it is, it's going to make you feel good.
Do you feel like there was a professor at Montevallo or a person who actively or intentionally made you laugh or tried to infuse their lessons with comedy in such a way that it opened their students up to learning? In a sense, just like when you're physically relaxed. Okay, I'm going to rewind this just a little bit. Bear with me.
I'm with you. I'm right there with you.
The news. The news is a very fascinating thing to me. I don't like the news because
That's a wild left turn from
comes in. It comes in and it goes dun 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 dun. It's literally getting your heart rate out of regulation. It sparks you into this fear state, and then suddenly you're susceptible to whatever information they want to plant in your head. Do you think it is easier?
You're that ancient aliens
or
meme
more ancient aliens meme?
You don't know the one with the guys with the crazy hair and his heads are up like this? Never mind.
I don't know. You'll show me later.
Yeah. Go ahead.
do you think it's easier or more difficult for the information to enter your body when you're in a relaxed state or when you're in a fearful state? Because now I'm thinking about the education system as a whole, and it really is fear-based in a lot of ways. It's this fear of failure. If you don't pay attention to the teacher, if you don't do your homework, if you don't read, you're going to fail this class.
Well, think about what you're saying, though. Fear is also one of the most primal, animalistic, like fear is.
Yeah, but that's
huge,
a fight or flight thing, and we
right.
can't
Well, but,
exist in that.
But if you
always.
if you can take that fight or flight feeling and weave it in with the knowledge, quote unquote knowledge that these kids are supposed to be learning, and I feel like that might be a more immediate way to get some information into somebody's head, but it's not going to register the same way as the comfort, for example. Like think about it like this. Let's compare the teacher that's, just a stickler, the drill sergeant of a teacher that's just, if you're paying attention in this class, it's because you're afraid of this person, right? You compare that to the teacher that's relaxed, funny, making people laugh, whatever. It's like they could be giving out the same information, right? The difference is with that fear teacher, I don't think things are going to stick as well because you're so focused on surviving in that moment, as opposed to with the comfort teacher, the funny teacher, whatever. It's like because you're in such a comforted state when you're hearing this information, I feel like it's probably just a little bit easier for it to stick with you. But you got to think the schools, like they don't really want you to like be smart. You know what I'm saying?
They don't want you to know things. They just want you to pay them thousands of dollars
they want you
to pass their test.
It's just like they want you to know enough to feel smart, but not really. Like, dude.
Well, because there's a difference between knowing something,
right?
Between having knowledge and having an understanding that's expansive and that can lead to more questioning.
Yeah. They don't want you asking questions. But hold on.
Uh-huh.
Do you know where the bell came from? Like the school bell?
Wait. The factories.
Yeah. Did you tell me that?
Perhaps. I mean, I know that the entire education system that we know now, these days, in the year still to this day, 2024, was based off of the Industrial Revolution.
You might have told me that. Bruh, it's got to the point where it's like,
yeah,
I will talk to you and Dobby and or Brax like in close proximity, and like I will forget what was said and what conversation to what person. Yeah. Because this is easily a me and Dob tangent, and so I don't even remember which one of y'all.
Well, in short, the factory workers needed somewhere for their kids to go while they were working their shifts, and then the factory owners were like, oh, well, of course their kids are going to come work for us someday too, so let's just... Yeah,
absolutely. 2 birds, 1 stone.
But what a terrible way to live a life, to instill this survival mentality into people's lives, and these like lower vibrations of fear, of failure, of lack, rather than that higher vibration of curiosity and love and laughter and expansiveness. And I think one of the biggest issues with the education system is that it's this pass or fail thing. And people are so afraid to fail that they never, ever try.
Oh, yeah.
And so we rarely get out of our comfort zones for that reason.
Yeah. I've always thought the way that they went about grading in school is already just like flawed from the jump, because you could have 2 students, one of them makes all A's. You have another student, they struggle, they fight for that low C, These 2 kids could potentially have very similar IQs. They could have very different IQs. They could have very similar, home situations. They could have very different home situations. Like there's so many different configurations that could equal this child making A's and this child making C's. And that's kind of the problem, right? Because at the end of the day, I can't tell you how many times I've seen the straight A students just not really like obtain the information. Like they're not really holding on to it. It's like they're learning what they got to do to get by, and then they're moving on. Like for example, my favorite example of this is like, do you ever remember reading in class, and like y'all were like, this person reads this paragraph and then they pass it to the next person, and then this. Okay, so like, the good student will wait until their turn to read and read the paragraph to the best of their ability. That's what the good student would do. But the knuckleheaded student, the smart student, isn't going to do that. They're going to sit at the back of the class and they're going to count how many people it's going to take before it's their turn to read. And so they're not going to pay attention to what's being spoken in the class. They're not paying it. All they know is it's 13 people's got to read before they get to me. And so I don't have to read anything except for this passage. Then they read that passage and they keep back doodling. And it's like that within itself kind of sums up how the folks that want to put in that work a lot of times are punished with the lack of time. And then the people who put in like the bare minimum effort, it's like they're rewarded with more time, if that makes sense. Because I'll never forget that one semester. I went so hard trying to make all A's. I was trying so hard to make the dean's list. Mind you, I'm driving crazy back and forth from UM to the crib. It's, hours and change. You know where I was at, working at Cheesecake Factory, working at Papado, whatever. And it's like I had to sacrifice so much more to get A's and B's. And I remember whenever I made the, honor roll dean's list, whatever it was, nobody cared. Like, nobody cared.
So were you doing it for yourself or for...
And see, and then ever since then, that's when I was like, oh, wait, y'all don't care? So ever since then, I calculated exactly what I needed to have a C in every class. And guess what? I was sleeping good. My skin was looking clear. You know what I'm saying? I had so much time to do whatever. I had time to make music. And that's kind of the flaw that's one of the many flaws with our education. The way it's configured. Because like at the end of the day, like once you got that piece of paper, ain't nobody going to be like, but was you on the dean's list though? Like they don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really thrilled to be part of a large team of people who are going to change the education system in the next couple decades.
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Miss Calliope and the people she's meeting.
Okay, all right.
And the conversations we're having, and it's really, I feel for the teachers. I feel for the healthcare workers.
Man.
I feel for so many people in this world who go into a line of work because they want to help people, and then they get into that line of work and it's more about the hoop jumping paperwork nonsense than it is about the very people they want to be there for. And so I'm working with some families right now, and they're like, their kids were in school. They didn't like that. The school they were in. They put them in private school. They're like, we actually don't like this either. We have to be a drill sergeant every single morning to get our kids to school on time because their tardy policy is so strict. They're like, we don't like that either. That's not good for their nervous system. So it's like, well, maybe some people will do some like tutoring and homeschool stuff. And they called me, and I was like, yeah, I don't have lesson plans. I don't have learning standards or central questionings or any of this stuff. And they're like, that doesn't matter, Calliope. You were deeply present with our children, and they like you, and you help them ask better questions. And that's what we want. And so I feel like just it's not set up for anyone to succeed, not the students, not the teachers. One teacher in a classroom full of like 20 to 25 kids. No, kids need individualized attention. Like maybe it's not possible to do that all day.
Of course.
But honestly, I just feel like the way it is right now just needs to be entirely blown up and redone. But if we wanted to make amends to the current system, I would love to see like some type of test being administered at the start of the school year to determine what kind of learner the student is, and then they're you know, for those larger group things where they don't get one-on-one attention, they're with the other kinesthetic learners, or with, because it's not that they're bad students or that their teachers are bad. It's just sometimes not the most ideal combination.
Not to mention like a lot of the testing that they are implementing, like the SAT, what's the ACT, like a lot of these now mind
the FCAT in Florida.
The FCAT, what is
FCAT?
Is that y'all's
Florida CAT.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't remember what CAT stood for, but
yeah, no.
I had so much testing anxiety when I went from, like, I went to a little church school K through 4, and then when I went to public school in 4th grade, I was so nervous about the FCAT. And my grandma died around the time that I'd taken the FCAT for the first time. I don't remember if I passed or failed or whatever. I made it to the next grade. I didn't get held back, but still, it was way too much.
See, my mom, she been teaching school since 1783, and I come from a long line of educators, dude. Like, my grandmama was a teacher, my granddaddy was, so long line of educators, and like I remember my mom telling me, you need to get good at taking tests, and I never understood what she meant. And it's like, I remember being, bullied into going to school, even if like our school was out, because like I went to the city schools. My mom was teaching in the county. If we were out for whatever reason, a lot of times my mom would end up dragging me to her 3rd grade class, her 5th grade class, her whatever, and I'd be right there in the desk, like everybody else in the classroom. I didn't get to like sit up there and be like a son. No, my mom was like, if you're going to be here, you can't get me in trouble for having you in this classroom when you're not here. And so, like, I like, there's so many days I remember like being drugged to
being drugged.
No,
I'm
like,
just kidding.
The physically, like, you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
And yeah, she dragged me along to like her classes or whatever, and I'm taking like the standardized test prep that they're taking, right? And I'm taking and so I'm not paying attention to the actual content of these tests. I'm learning at a very young age how these tests are presented, and how, if you know how to read these questions, a lot of times the answers are a little bit more apparent to you once you understand. It's almost damn near like a certain algorithm you got to kind of like internalize. But I said all this to say this. That doesn't make you knowledgeable. That doesn't make you smart. I can't tell you how many times I done seen the kids who made the 33s, 37s, 48s on the ACTs. And yes, I know the highest you can get is 36, leave me alone.
I don't even know that.
Yeah, well, that's because you're from Florida. But, yeah, I've seen the kids that made the highest on the ACT just not know basic things about anything. Like, I've seen, like, some of the quote-unquote smartest people. In actuality, when they go in the real world, it's like, these people don't know anything except how a standardized test is put together. And that's why they're good at the ACT and the SAT and the whatever. Yeah, and it makes you look good on paper, but that's not. It's an
interesting bubble.
Yeah, it's
an interesting
nothing.
Bubble to stay in.
It's nothing at all. And my mom has always had an issue with that as well. But that's one thing I do like about my mama. She never stayed at no school long, bro. Like, mama, it took just one little thing. You make my mama mad, she on to the next school. She like, peace, I'm going to Bridgeport.
See, I love that we're talking about your mom right now and the way that you calculated getting passing grades. Would you care to share anything more about?
Share, bro.
That?
My mama made me memorize the preamble to the Constitution when I was in the 1st grade.
No,
bro.
I'm talking about your petty nature.
Oh, my petty nature. Okay, so But okay, so this is how it goes. Me and Tiara concluded that each of my mama's offspring inherited at least one of her toxic traits, right? So the one that my oldest brother got, he got the pride, like the just like, oh, look at me, flashy, like, ooh, nice car, ooh, look, right? And then the brother below him, he kind of got like that. I don't even really know what to call it. Actually, we're gonna leave him alone. Yeah, we're gonna leave him alone because I could rant about him.
Because he
right?
probably doesn't even need more attention.
Yeah, no, I gotta leave him alone. And so Cam got the exaggeration. Like Cam will. Oh my God, he's so bad at exaggerating. Like I'll never forget. Like when I was first learning to play guitar, I'm listening to BB King. I'm listening to Creedence Clearwater Revival. I'm listening to just like Stevie Ray Vaughan. I'm listening to all the like stuff that my dad is like, oh, you want to learn to play guitar? Listen to this. And so I remember discovering the Red Hot Chili Peppers and really liking, John Frusciante's guitar playing. And then I remember my brother being like, what? Oh, you got to listen to this. This is the greatest guitar riff of all time, bar none. This is the most. And it was the guitar riff to, give it away. And it's like, as a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan in retrospect, it's like, you think that's John Frusciante firing on all cylinders? You're crazy. Like, that's that man sleeping, like half awake in a coma. Like, that is nothing. But anyways, Cam got the exaggeration. And then I got the petty. Man. And it's like, I know.
I love that you embrace it.
I don't have a choice. Because I can't fight it. I've tried fighting it. I'm miserable. I'm so, like, it got to a point where if I hold something in, like if I don't say what's on my mind, I'll get a headache later on that day. And I'm like, I should have been petty. I can't control that. I'm a vessel. The petty just flows through me. Yeah, it's real bad. And a lot of times I know I'm wrong. That's why I try to go way out of my way to just respect everybody, love everybody, treat everybody right. Because I know that if I feel like, you coming at me crazy, then it's like a lot of times I don't know when to shut my mouth. A lot of times I don't know when to quit. I was always that kid that was at the lunchroom table roast, and they're just like, oh, your mama's so fat. And I'm just like, oh yeah, well, your cousin's on crack. Like, I was that kid,
Oof.
Yeah, I was that kid. I was like, oh, well, your uncle don't love you. Like, yeah, I was that kid.
And what's Tira's toxic trait? We ain't even got to get into it.
So it's funny that you asked that because...
I mean, you went down the line. We skipped one brother, so we can skip...
No. I can undoubtedly say that Tiara's biggest is she got the stubbornness. 100%. She got the stubbornness because, like... here's the thing with Tiara. You could be mad at something that Tiara did to you, and she'll just be like, why are you mad? I don't understand. Like, and then let the same scenario be flipped on its head where she's the one that's mad and she's mad at you, and bro, like she won't understand.
I think I've seen this.
Why you can't understand why she's mad. She feels like if she's mad, you should also be mad. And it's like that. It's that stubbornness of like, she's just bullheaded and stubborn, man. Like, it is what it is. But yeah. That's Tiara's for sure. But she's getting better though. Out of everybody, Tiara's the only one where it's like she really be working on herself. Like, she's working on. I'm not, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. I can't.
I think just having a level of awareness around it and accepting yourself and counteracting it with being as loving and respectful as possible.
I got into a fight with a 7-year-old child in the toy section at Walmart over what Nerf gun was better. Yeah, straight up. That happened. You understand?
I don't even know what to say to you.
There's nothing you can say. Like, I got into
Were you still respectful to him?
Yeah. I'm sitting there talking to his entire family. See, now I sound like a crazy person. What it was is I was trying to buy one of the little homies a Nerf gun, and I got the one that the kid wanted, and he was like, "Oh, I want that one," and I was like, "You can have it," like because it was the last one. I was like, "Oh, if this is what you want," but I was like, "You need to get this one because this one's way better." And the dad's looking at me like, like just point to the cheapest one, bro. And I'm like, "No, sir, I'm not here for you. I'm here for this little 7, 8-year-old kid right now, because like I'm trying to put little bro on game." And this kid gonna argue with me like, "No, I want this one. I want the one you want. This one's better." And I'm like, "No, it's clearly not. This is the Maverick. It only holds 8 shots, bro. And the little revolver wheel is gonna break eventually. Just, bro, get this one. It shoots way further. It's only $7 more." This little kid's gonna sit up here and argue with me. And so yeah, that happened. And then his poor dad's just sitting there scratching his head like, and then of course, oh man. I've gotten into some real petty arguments and drive-throughs. That's one of the reasons why I had to cut fast food, because like these people don't understand. I want to go home too. You know? Yeah, I've gotten into some legendary arguments with them folks at the church's chicken off Tallapoosa. I love y'all. If y'all listening to this, I love y'all. But like, bro, oh man, yeah, it's the petty. It's the petty. We had the bee sting conversation.
Bee sting?
Yeah, like I relate a lot to like the bumble, or I don't know if it's the bumblebee or the honeybee, but it's
I
like,
know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
He will kill himself to hurt you.
It's just a little bit of pain that's going to inflict this human. Just a little bit of pain, but it's like, I'm with that kamikaze energy. Like, just crash out. Like, go as hard as you can just to like hit this dude upside the head. Whatever, who cares? You know? So
it takes a certain level of dedication.
Yeah.
To
Yeah. Dang, now you got me thinking all left brain. I'm trying to think about the pettiest thing I've ever done. Dang, now you got me thinking. You got my wheels turning.
What's my toxic trait?
Girl, I ain't trying to do that.
No, we're here.
I'm not. That's not what I'm trying. I'm not trying to just like break you down.
I'm opening the door for you to roast me gently.
Because
I know my brain works a little differently.
Yeah, but I've gotten very acclimated to kind of like how you think and how you go about things and how you like I know like when you get real quiet, you're probably like fixated on something. Like I've kind of started to learn your isms a little bit. I feel like toxic trait. I feel like your most toxic trait, wishy-washy. Yeah, you wishy-washy.
Yeah,
You're wishy-washy as hell.
I like the power to decide when, in the moment, that it feels right.
Yeah, but that's not even, I feel like that's way too gentle. Like, I've gotten on to you for being like, oh, you said you was going to do this, but it's like oh, you had a change of heart. And I can always respect the change of heart, you know? So that's not even really that toxic. But I know that there's some ammo I got. I just don't, it ain't registering right now. You got me so fixated on thinking about petty things I've done. Yeah. Oh man. Oh, here's another toxic trait for you. So you do this thing. So whenever we're in a band setting, it always cracks me up. Watching, it's more so like this balance between your toxicity and Dobby's toxicity, but it's going to help me explain to you a little bit better if I start with Dobby first. So Dobby does this thing where he's like, oh, Calliope singing close to me, I forgot how to sing, right? And what's actually happening is like, you know, you're singing a different part than him, or you're singing an octave higher than him, and he not familiar enough with his part to where he can really like, you know, focus in on that, right? Your toxic trait is whenever you are experimenting, and oh my God, I really need to like record this so I can show it to you in real time. Like whenever you're like experimenting, like bro, you will go so hard. Like you will just be belting, you will be singing your heart out, and it's like so fun. It's like Dobby's over there like quietly singing, and like Tears over there like trying to find the part. And you just over there just like just killing it. Yeah, I don't know why the melody to September sneaked in my mind, but yeah, no, I don't even really have a whole lot of smoke for you right now, Opie Renee.
That's one of the more challenging things about being a musician, and I think you can identify with this too. It's that our art form takes up so much sonic space, and so when you're like living in a house or with other people, or whatever the situation it may be, it's like, gosh, I sometimes worry too much about disturbing other people, and so I guess when we're in a full band setting, everyone and everything is so loud, I feel like I really can be like out there.
And here's the thing, it's not even really that toxic of a trait, because like in actuality, they kind of need that. They kind of need somebody who will confidently like experiment vocally around them.
Loud and proud, strong and wrong.
Yeah. Well, not even necessarily strong and wrong, just strong in general. Like if it's wrong, cool, because it's practice. But yeah.
But it goes back to that, like that fear of failure. It's like, I might screw something up, but I trust you guys enough to work through the process in your presence.
Yeah. And like I said, you know, we talking about practice. Back to the AI thing. You don't even understand that quote, do you?
Nah.
You're so far removed from the AI interview. Oh, bless your heart.
Are we back to country grammar? Is that what you mean, AI?
No,
different AI.
That's that. I'm talking about Allen Iverson. Yes, there's this famous interview where his coach was like, "Oh, you know," I think there was something about they were mad because he wasn't showing up to practice, and then he like, you know, scored a bunch of points in the game that they were practicing for, and he was like, "We talking about practice." Like, why are we talking about practice? Like, it was just an iconic AI moment because, you know, he showed up and showed out, and it's like you can't argue with the results. It's like, you know.
I wonder what he was doing in his own time that enabled him to be that sharp and that clear, to just walk in and slay, even though he hadn't been at practice.
You must not know the. Are you familiar with Allen Iverson at all?
I know that I
so Allen
misunderstood the lyric.
He's my favorite basketball player of all time. Number one, because he's a little man. He's 6 foot tall, which, you know, that's tall in real life, but in basketball, that's itty bitty. So he's a little guy, right? And number two, like, he set so many trends in NBA, like, I don't want to say fashion, but like the NBA kind of like transformed itself after Allen Iverson, because he was the guy that was like, hey, listen, I'm not changing how I talk in these interviews. I ain't code switching for none of these white folks. I'm going to wear my hair how I want to wear my hair. I have tattoos that, you know, it is what it is. I am who I am. I'm a hood kid from the projects that can dribble a basketball and cross you up. What do you want from me? And that was just like his whole attitude. And I feel like even though he might not have been a Michael Jordan or a Shaq, like his personality is so respectable and profound that AI is all. And, you know, Allen Iverson on the basketball court was crazy. Like, AI in his prime, oh my God. I don't keep up with basketball no more, but like, yeah.
See, I'm with that, because when I admire someone for their artistry or their extraordinary ability in some way, shape, or form, what I like to do is go and watch an interview of them and see who they really are as a person.
Yeah.
Because I like to know, like, is this person someone worth looking up to? Because I want balanced role models in my life.
Okay, but that's a slippery slope though, cuz. That's a slippery slope. And I'm gonna tell you why. I think that's a slippery slope because we know the famous saying, don't meet your heroes. I mean, and that's not even the tangent I'm trying to get on. It's more so like, are we only going to allow ourselves to be influenced by the art that is made by people who are quote
Absolutely
unquote good?
Not. Absolutely not.
Right?
See,
So,
I knew you were going there. I was going to let you finish before you went there. But what I'm saying is, am I going to appreciate this art for what it is? or am I going to follow this artist and their entire journey? Does that make sense?
Not to me, no, because I come from the world of hip hop, and it's like we ain't finna do that with nobody. Like in the world of hip hop, okay, here's the thing. A lot of the times when people are just like, oh, I don't listen to rap, the reason why they don't listen to rap is because they can't do what you just said with any rap artist. Like, there's not a single rap artist where every single thing they say you're going to agree with. No.
It's not about agreeing
No.
with them.
No. But I mean a general agreement, like a cosign of, like you use the word role model. It's like, but let me just give you an example. Who's a rapper I like? Me and Dobbs was just at the Schoolboy Q concert. I don't know if you know anything about Schoolboy Q, but like, incredibly talented person. I don't need to be your role model. No, absolutely not. That does not need to be your role model. And so like, the people who are cut from that hip hop cloth, we're not wired to where we can, track somebody's whole journey in that way, in the sense of like, we want to watch this person's evolution in a way that is like synonymous with our growth versus we are going to watch and appreciate this person grow, period. That's kind of like where we're at. Like, I'm trying to watch this person grow, period, evolve, period. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be like in correlation with my personal growth. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? You look at me crazy.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And I just feel like what I had mentioned earlier might have been a little bit misunderstood, because I agree with everything you're saying. It's not that I need to agree with someone in order to appreciate their art so much as it is I like to know who this person is on a level beyond their art.
Oh, okay.
And are I feel like I need to choose my words more carefully now. Because my initial statement was a little convoluted.
We can decipher the.
Because it also has to be acknowledged that some people just interview really well, and when they're off camera, they might be total pieces of shit.
Yeah, and so that's another thing. Like there are a lot of artists out here that like fabricate a personality in order to, be more sensational, because this is the era of snippets and shorts and viral moments, and that's where the don't meet your heroes comes in, because it's like if you're a fan of this person's music or acting or whatever the case, and then it's like, okay, you think you're a fan of this person just based off the interviews, and then you see how they really be, and you're like, oh, okay, all right.
And even in the context of this podcast that we're doing, it'll be interesting to see who gravitates towards our music more or less, because they've had the opportunity to get to know us through this sharing.
No, shout out to that one girl that always comes to our shows, and she don't ever chop it up. She don't ever stay. She don't ever want to talk. She comes, she watches Soul Crumble, and she leaves. Like, I respect that so much. It's like, oh my God, this person gets it. They get it. Do not meet your heroes. And it's like, I respect it so much, because it's like, imagine, you're following this band from your area or whatever, and it's like you're listening to their music and you're supporting them dropping music, and you've watched them grow, and then you meet them and they're just terrible people. Like, they're just low lives. Like, they're just Cringe and Ratchet all wrapped up in one. That's going to devastate you, because you were rooting for these people as individuals, as creatives, as whatever. But if you just stay out the way, And
I think, if we can sum it all up in one thing, I think the lesson here is don't put anybody on a pedestal. Yes, be inspired by people. Enjoy the things they've created and shared, but do not allow them to become more than human in your eyes, because you will only be Disappointed.
Keanu Reeves.
Say more.
What do you mean? Say more. I'm asking. Does this apply to Keanu Reeves? I'm asking. Does this apply to Danny DeVito? I'm asking. Does this apply to Dolly? Dolly is another one. Oh my God. Stevie Nicks. Stevie Nicks is another one. What all these people I'm naming have in common is they have fan bases that have tried to like catapult them like so far, like to hell with a pedestal. It's like their fan bases are like throwing them way higher than like what humanity can even really allow. And so it's like they're seen as like these moral gods and goddesses a lot of times.
Well, if you think about it, some of these celebrities, not necessarily the ones you've named, others that will remain unnamed, enjoy being gods.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can make that case for Dolly, sure, because she has an amusement park. But like Keanu Reeves be at the crib, cause
What does that even mean?
the crib is urban colloquialism for house, place of residence. What do you mean?
Yeah, I know that.
Oh, what are we talking about?
When you say he's at the, like, he goes and he does his job and then he goes home, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he clock in and clock out and stay out the way.
Yeah, he's not trying to egg on any fan club.
Nah, not at all. And the only reason I bring this up is because it's like there are these people that we make, and I'm saying we as a society, because I don't know none of these folks. I ain't never dapped up Keanu Reeves. He ain't never been into Tijuana House. But it's like we as a people, as a society, it's like we like to elevate certain people up on this this status of, it's almost like they have reached this level that transcends fame to the point where it's like their name itself is attached to certain energies and certain like for example, Dolly is a great example of that, because it's like people look at Dolly like if she ran for president tomorrow, they would vote for her just because they associate her with good, just morale,
and her
morality.
Fan base is so diverse. I haven't been to one of her concerts before, but I've heard from people who have been to her concerts, and it's kind of like Weird Al Yankovic, know? It's like there are going to be little kids there.
Yeah.
There are going to be elderly people there. There are going to be people in biker gangs there.
Yeah.
There are going to be
absolutely.
super duper Christians there. There's going to be...
Yeah.
So that is... Honestly, I think these people are such gifts to the world as an example of what is possible whenever we see through to the core and the center of who we all are.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Rather than I don't think their goal is to be these unattainable godlike figures, but I think they really do represent that.
Exactly.
Godlike, unconditional love.
Yeah.
Essence.
Yeah, it's like they're, whether or not they're really like this in real life, it's like we put them close to divinity. It's weird.
I wonder what she looks like without her wig on.
That is not where I thought that was going. Not where I thought that was going.
I think about it all the time.
And Dolly Parton is married and don't nobody know what her husband looked like.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Respect to bro. Whoever you are, respect, my guy. They've been married for a hot minute too. He just out the way. That's got to be stressful though. Your wife has an amusement park named after her dog.
There's some kids from Montevallo who went and auditioned at Dollywood, and they had some interesting things to say about it. And, pretty much to sum it up, because this is not my experience, I'm paraphrasing here, but it seems like they're very loyal to Dollywood.
See, now you're getting...
once they, make the cut. And for me, like, that's the whole reason I got out of just musical theater in general, is because it was so cliquey.
So at first you said, before you said cliquey, what was the word you said? You said it was so loyal. They were so loyal. Then you said cliquey. There's a certain word I don't want to say, but
I think I can say it for you.
Can we say it on 3?
2. Are we saying it on 1 or after 1?
Say it on 3, damn it. So 1, 2, 3.
Cult.
Yeah.
Okay, check this. What's the difference between a cult and a culture?
URE.
Yep, the length of the word. That's it. URE. URE, yeah.
I was trying to be very literal, but I get what you're saying. But culture, I don't even know if those words have the same root word. I think cult comes from root word occult, probably something Proto-Latin, and I think culture has its roots as something else. I don't think
we're going to look this up and discuss it on the next episode, but it's time to put a fork in it.
What? Is it really what?
Yeah, we've been going for like an hour and 20 minutes nearly.
Okay, see, that's crazy. All right, yeah, stick a fork in it then. I'll shut up.
Stick a fork in it.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I ain't even know.
We'll be back next week, next episode.
I felt like I've been talking for 15, 20 minutes. That's crazy. Yeah. All right.
All right, peace.